Good evening. Welcome to Primetime News on TV1. I'm Thiruni Karunaratna, and as always, we're coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Here are tonight's top stories. Two dead, two rescued in Dondra fishing vessel tragedy. We'll build a corruption-free nation under the rule of law. Government's aim is to elevate the country to a new level, President says while inaugurating railway modernization project. Shania Besekra reappointed as director of the CID. Circle of Dreams Leadership Forum begins, chaired by former South African President Tabo Library. Iran holds state funeral for citizens killed in Israeli strikes. Sri Lanka clinches Test series win over Bangladesh. Najmul Hussain steps down as Test captain, accepting responsibility for defeat.
আমার একটা অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট ছিল, আমি বাংলাদেশ দলের অ্যাজ এ টেস্ট ক্যাপ্টেন হিসেবে স্টেপ ডাউন করছি।
On to those stories in detail now. Two fishermen have been confirmed dead and another remains missing following an accident involving a fishing vessel that set out from the Dondra Fisheries Harbour in Mathura. Two other individuals who survived the incident and were rescued are currently receiving treatment at hospital.
A multi-day fishing vessel named Dinesh 4, carrying 5 fishermen, left the Dondra Fisheries Harbour yesterday and later capsized in Sri Lankan waters, approximately 20 nautical miles offshore. The vessel met with an accident in the Sea of Sri Lanka, with early reports suggesting it collided with a merchant ship. One of the fishermen managed to survive by clinging to the overturned vessel. He was later rescued by a nearby fishing crew who pulled him aboard using a rope. The rescued fisherman was brought ashore and admitted to the Karapiti Teaching Hospital for treatment. He stated that the accident occurred due to a collision with a merchant vessel. The Sri Lanka Navy and Air Force launched a joint search and rescue operation, deploying a Bell 212 helicopter and a Y-12 aircraft. By around 2 p.m. today, the bodies of 2 fishermen were recovered and later brought to Galle Harbour. A few hours later, another fisherman trapped inside the overturned vessel was successfully rescued.
How did this accident occur?
Survivors of the incident have stated that the fishing vessel was struck by a passing merchant ship, causing it to capsize. However, Navy media spokesperson Commander Buddhika Sampath confirmed that an investigation is underway to verify this claim. Director General of the Fisheries Department, Susanta Kahavatta, had the following to say.
මේ අනුතර සිදු ප්‍රදේශය ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මුහුදු තීරයේ වෙළඳ නෞකා ගමන් කරන වාණිජ නෞකා.
The area where the incident occurred falls within a commercial shipping route of the Sri Lankan coastline. It is therefore likely that the vessel may have collided with a merchant ship. We are currently conducting a technical analysis to determine which ship was navigating through that location at the time of the incident. Once the vessel is identified, the Office of the Director General of Merchant Shipping will take the necessary legal steps. There are several possible causes, either a direct collision or the vessel being affected by turbulent waters generated by a nearby merchant ship. Nevertheless, we believe with strong probability that this was an accident caused by a merchant vessel operating along that route.
වෙළඳ නෞකාවක් හේතුවකින් මේ අනතුර සිදු වෙන්නට ඇති කියලා.
Those aboard the Dinesh 4 multi-day fishing vessel were identified as LDHT Niroshan, AWPS Sampath, AWPD Prasanga, all residents of Dondra, and AFBTS Kumara and DSV Shanta, residents of Waligama. A small fishing vessel that set out to sea from Moragalla in Kalutara has also met with an accident, with 2 fishermen reported missing. The missing individuals are brothers from the same family residing in Alutgama. In another incident, police have launched an investigation into the disappearance of a fisherman who went out to sea from the Nilwala Fisheries harbour. Police stated that it is suspected the fisherman may have fallen into the sea and gone missing. The missing individual was a crew member of the multi-day fishing vessel Jayasuru, which had departed from Nilwala recently. According to fellow fishermen, the man was last seen yesterday before he is believed to have fallen overboard.
On to more local news now. President Anurukumar Dissanayake says that steps are being taken to build a country free from fraud and corruption under the rule of law. The president further stated that instead of merely proceeding with reforms within the existing system, the current government's goal is to elevate the country to a new level. He made these remarks while launching a new government initiative to modernize railway stations. The inauguration ceremony of the Dream Destination project to modernize 100 railway stations was held yesterday evening at the Presidential Secretariat. The initiative is a public-private partnership implemented by the Ministry of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation in collaboration with the Clean Sri Lanka program and private sector support. The objective of this project is to develop a clean, safe and aesthetically pleasing railway station network across the country that ensures comfort and accessibility for all passengers, including those with special needs.
දීර්ඝ කාලයක් අපේ රට එක තලයක එක ලෙවල් එක තලයක ගමන් කරමින් තිබෙනවා. දැන් අපිට පුළුවන් මේ තියෙන තලයේ
For a long time our country has been operating on a single level. While we can introduce some reforms within the current level, our expectation is not to continue making small adjustments. We need to lift the country to an entirely new level. But what does it mean to elevate our country to a new level? It means that every citizen must come under the rule of law. People must fear the law. Right now, people are not subject to the law. People are not afraid of the law. We are taking this country to a place where citizens truly fear and respect the law. When someone thinks about corruption, they shouldn't dare to get involved in it. In fact, they should be afraid to even think about engaging in corruption or fraud. Just look at the news these days. It's all about corruption. People in this country must fear even the thought of stealing public money. If we are to raise the country to a new level, then the state machinery and the public service must become efficient and accountable to the people. That is why we are focusing special attention on the public transport system. The rate of road accidents in our country is alarmingly high. On average, 8 people die every day due to road accidents. Should we allow this situation to continue? Or will we raise the country to a better standard? That's why we are strengthening road laws and enforcement. A bus must be treated as a bus. There can be no alternatives to it. But small power structures have been created, mini governments. There is one government for bus owners, another for peta vendors. These small mini governments have no place in our country. we are going to eliminate all of them. This country should have only one government, the one elected by the people. So we cannot allow road rules to be subject to different authorities and mini-governments. That's why, along with strengthening the public transport system, we are also introducing a strong legal framework. For a country like ours with a small economy, the dollar burden we bear for importing vehicles is huge. If we build a strong public transport service, we can reduce the annual financial burden we face for vehicles. When we say we are taking the country to a new level, it means transforming the public transport system into a highly efficient and modern service. We have considered the required public investments for this, and we are also opening the door for private sector participation. Let's build a strong public transport system. One of our key expectations is to rebrand our railway network, including rail lines and stations, with a new identity. That's why, as a first step, we have selected 100 railway stations for renovation. While preserving their historical and architectural value, we also need to ensure they meet the needs of today's people. We must stabilize and standardize our country. Governance cannot vary from one administration to another. We must establish new values and systems that are lasting. That is why I believe the political leadership is fully engaged in this mission. We are lifting the political culture of this country from the old level to a new one. In the same way, every sector must be elevated from the old level to a new one.
අපි අපේ රටේ දේශපාලන සංස්කෘතිය පැරණි තලයේ සිට නව තලයකට අපි ඔසවා තබලා තිබෙනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ මේ හැම ශාස්ත්‍රයක්ම අපි පැරණි තලයේ සිට නව තලයකට අපි ඔසවා තැබිය යුතුයි.
During the event, the Minister of Transport handed over the National Road Safety Action Plan to the President.
ඉතින් දැනට අපි ගත්තොත් ලංකාවේ ට්‍රැෆික් නිසා දල වශයෙන් විශ්වාස කරනවා GDP එකට වෙන හානිය 2%.
We estimate that traffic congestion in Sri Lanka causes a 2 to 3% loss to GDP. So, from an economic development perspective, improving public transport is our priority. We've identified the railway system as the most important area to develop. Currently, outdated laws prevent women from being recruited into certain key roles within the railway service. We hope to amend these laws. We also expect to purchase new railway engines in the upcoming budget. In addition, we aim to bring ownership of the railway lines under the Department of Railways, especially to encourage private tourism-based train services. If there are private operators interested in running tourist trains, we are open to exploring that through proper study and regulation.
පුද්ගලික දුම්රිය ඔබතුමාලාට යොදවන්න කැමති නම් අප කැමති ඒ පිළිබඳව ඉඩකඩ ලබා දෙන්න හරියාකාරව අධ්‍යයනය කිරීමත් එක්ක.
Acting Inspector General of Police, Attorney at Law Priyantha Veerasurya, has received approval from the National Police Commission for his request to reappoint Senior Superintendent of Police Shani Abesekara as the Director of the Criminal Investigation Department. A senior official of the National Police Commission told Newsfirst that the official letter regarding this appointment will be sent to the police headquarters today.
A total of 31 suspects have been arrested over allegations related to bribery or corruption within the past 5 months. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption stated that between 1st of January and the 31st of May this year, 8 police officers were among those arrested during operations carried out within that period. The arrests include a police inspector, a sub-inspector, 4 sergeants and 2 constables. The Commission further noted that the arrested individuals also include a school principal and 2 public health inspectors.
The Sri Lankan Minister of Fisheries today responded to media reports quoting Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar regarding the Kachativu Island and Indo-Lanka fishing issues.
The Hindu newspaper reported that Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar had said that Indian fishermen have lost their rights through the Kachativu Agreement. The said report stated that the impact of the emergency regulations, which was in effect in India from the 25th of June 1975 to the 21st of March 1977, is still reflected in Indo-Sri Lankan relations today. The Hindu newspaper further states that the agreement signed by the then Indira Gandhi government with Sri Lanka had deprived Indian fishermen of their right to fish in the Pork Strait.
අපේ මූදු තිරයට
Trawler boats that illegally enter our territorial waters are causing massive destruction to all our marine resources. As of today, in the northern province, more than 30% of the population is either directly engaged in fishing or depends on the fisheries industry for their livelihood. It is their lives that are being destroyed. It is the Indian Tamil Nadu fishermen who are responsible for these actions. The Kachativ issue is the weapon that they always use, especially when there is an election in Tamil Nadu, India, or an election in that region. It was wrong to give Kachativ to Sri Lanka. We will take it back. We will reclaim it. They are engaged in a process of increasing their voter base by telling those people stories. But we are clearly saying that if this kind of destruction continues to occur in this coastal line, the Indian Minister of External Affairs knows very well that it will be impossible to prevent our sea limit from being transformed into a desert in another 15 years. So that's the serious issue. According to international law, Kachativ Island belongs to our country. No one can go through such a process to take it over again.
නැවත කාටත් පවරා ගන්න එවැනි ක්‍රියාවලියකට යන්න බෑ.
Sri Lanka, 65,610 square kilometers. Sri Lanka's exclusive economic zone, over 512,000 square kilometers. Call it what it is.
The Sea of Sri Lanka.
Former South African President Thabo Mbeki, who is currently on a visit to Sri Lanka at the invitation of the Capital Maharaja Group, took part in a powerful and thought-provoking leadership forum on his third day in the country. Titled Circle of Dreams, the forum brought together youth, leaders of corporate enterprises, sports personalities and change-makers for conversation on leadership, reconciliation and unity, drawing deeply from President Mbeki's personal experiences both within South Africa and around the world. On his third day in Sri Lanka, former South African President Thabo Mbeki took centre stage at the Circle of Dreams Leadership Forum at the picturesque Cinnamon Life at City of Dreams, an initiative that fostered open dialogue on some of the most pressing issues facing societies today. The event was attended by youth, leaders of corporate enterprises, sports personalities and change makers. The forum explored critical themes including reconciliation, national identity and ethical leadership, areas that President Mbeki has long advocated for, both during and beyond his presidency. The session featured an engaging and interactive exchange with participants posing thought-provoking questions on justice, inclusion and the future of Sri Lanka. Participants also had the opportunity to personally meet with former President Mbeki and engage in warm, meaningful conversations during the forum. Government has been committed to identifying and addressing the real needs of the people of Sri Lanka, a national movement that has been working at the grassroots for over a decade to rebuild and empower communities. Tomorrow, yet another chapter for this people-driven initiative is set to begin, marking the launch of a new community outreach effort. This special occasion will be graced by former South African President Thabo Mbeki, who will be taking part in this meaningful endeavour. The Ampegama Primary School, located within the Lavinia Divithura Education Division of the Alpitia Education Zone in Gaul, nurtures the education of around 600 young learners. These students shine not only in their academic exams, but also actively participate and excel in various extracurricular activities. However, the school faces a significant hurdle: the lack of a proper library to support their learning journey. In response to this need, Government is set to begin work tomorrow to establish a fully equipped modern library for the students. This inspiring project will be proudly led by former South African President Tabo Library. Funded through generous contributions of the Dharmaja Public Fund, the new facility will be named the Tabo Library, symbolizing hope, knowledge and community spirit.
We are currently at the Ampegama Primary School in the Gold District, which is home for about 600 odd students studying from grade 1 to grade 5. Well, they are currently witnessing how one of their long lost dreams is finally coming true tomorrow. Ampegama Primary School lacked a properly constructed library for several years. However, Dharmaja stepped in and is now constructing them their dream library. And this construction will begin tomorrow as we will be laying the foundation stone for this library at the Ampegama Primary School. And this ceremony will be attended by the legendary former South African President Tabo Library, who is currently in Sri Lanka. On a happy note, this library will also be named after the former South African President Tabo Library as the Tabo Library at the Ampegama Primary School. So stay tuned as we will be bringing you the latest updates on all that is happening tomorrow with this ceremony. And until I bring to you the latest update, signing off for now, I am Hashini Pakarana for the Dharmaja team.
News First with the people.
Far from the city noise, under a mango tree, children turn broken desks into a stage. They sing, they dance, they try. No bright lights, no big crowds, just a small school and big dreams. Change is coming. An open-air stage for the Kattaragama Primary School. Dharmaja, for the people, by the people.
Welcome back. You're joining us on Primetime News. A high-level business delegation from the Confederation of Indian Industry, or CII, comprising around 15 members and led by Sanjeev Puri, Chairman and Managing Director of ITC Limited and immediate past President of CII, is visiting Sri Lanka from the 29th of June to the 2nd of July 2025.
The visit is taking place in continuation to the high-level business forum organized during the state visit of President Anurukumar Dissanayake. The visit includes engagements with senior leadership and ministers of government of Sri Lanka, the Board of Investment and key members of the Sri Lankan business community. The delegation will also call on President Anurukumar Dissanayake and key ministers. A key highlight of the visit will be a roundtable discussion featuring leading CEOs from both countries aimed at advancing partnerships on trade, investment and industrial cooperation. The visit highlights the commitment of Apex Indian Chambers of Commerce such as CII to deepen existing economic ties, promote investment-led partnerships and explore new avenues for collaboration between India and Sri Lanka.
Mourners dressed in black lined streets in Iran's capital Tehran at a funeral today for top military commanders, nuclear scientists and some of the civilians killed during this month's war with Israel. At least 16 scientists and 10 senior commanders were among those mourned at the funeral, including Armed Force Chief Major General Mohammad Bagheri, Revolutionary Guards Commander General Hossein Salami and Guards Aerospace Force Chief General Amir Ali Hajzadeh. Their coffins were driven into Tehran's Azadi Square, adorned with their pictures as well as rose petals and flowers as crowds waved Iranian flags. State-run Press TV showed an image of ballistic missiles on display as well. State TV said the funeral, dubbed the funeral procession of the Martyrs of Power, was held for a total of 60 people killed in the war, including 4 women and 4 children. Attending the funeral were President Masoud Pezeshkian and other senior figures including Ali Shamkhani, who was seriously wounded during the conflict and is an advisor to Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. At least 16 Pakistani soldiers were killed in a suicide attack that was claimed by the Pakistani Taliban. The attack in northwestern Pakistan also left 29 people injured, including 10 army personnel and 19 civilians. Security officials said the attacker detonated explosives near a bomb disposal unit vehicle, killing at least 16 people. Foreign media report that at least 29 people, including 19 civilians, were also injured in the attack. A local government official in the North Waziristan district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province told the AFP news agency separately that a suicide bomber rammed an explosive-laden vehicle into a military convoy. This was one of the deadliest single-day attacks on security forces in recent months in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There was no immediate comment from the Pakistani military. Meanwhile, United States President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. is immediately ending trade talks with Canada in response to the country's digital services tax on technology companies, marking a clear escalation of pressure tactics. United States President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. is immediately ending trade talks with Canada in response to the country's digital services tax on technology companies, marking a clear escalation of pressure tactics. Trump, in a post on his Truth Social platform on Friday, called the Canadian tax a direct and blatant attack on their country and said, quote, "Based on this egregious tax, we're hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately," unquote. He added, quote, "We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period," unquote. Canada has approved the Digital Services Tax Act on the 20th of June 2024, and it came into force shortly after the 28th of June. Under this, Canada will charge a tax of 3% on the digital services revenue a firm makes from Canadian users above 20 million Canadian dollars in a calendar year. Businesses have been calling for a pause, saying it would increase the cost of providing services as well as risk drawing the wrath of the US government. But the Canadian federal government has so far refused and is proceeding with the plans. The Canadian Revenue Authority is set to start collecting the tax on Monday and will cover revenue retroactively from 2022. The U.S. Supreme Court has handed a major win to Donald Trump, ruling 6-3 to limit the judge's power to block his executive orders nationwide. The Supreme Court on Friday handed a significant victory to Donald Trump and future American presidents when curbing lower courts' power to block executive orders. The court issued a 6-3 ruling that will curb judges' power to block President Donald Trump's orders nationwide. President Trump, addressing reporters from the White House briefing room podium, hailed the Supreme Court's decision as a big, amazing decision, adding that the administration is very happy about the outcome. He described the ruling as a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law.
This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law. In striking down the excessive use of nationwide injunctions to interfere with the normal functioning of the executive branch, the Supreme Court has stopped the presidency itself. That's what they've done. I was elected on a historic mandate, but in recent months we've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president to stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers. It was a grave threat to democracy. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people.
Sri Lanka sealed a comprehensive series victory over Bangladesh, winning the second test by an innings and 78 runs to clinch the two-match series.
In the game held at the SSC grounds in Colombo during the two-match test series against Bangladesh, Sri Lanka scored 458 runs in reply to Bangladesh's first innings of 247. Spinner Prabhat Surya led the charge with a 5-wicket haul as Bangladesh collapsed for just 133 in their second innings. The first match of the series between the two countries ended in a draw.
Collective effort
It was a collective effort. Pathum, Kamidu and Mendis found their form. The fast bowlers did what the team needed. I think that's how a team should perform. The Galle match ended in a draw, which was quite disappointing. It was a series we could have won 2-0. There won't be any test matches for a while. We will try. I think the board will also try to schedule test matches. That will be important because playing test matches consistently helps to maintain the rhythm. We are hopeful that good things lie ahead.
Pathum Nissanka was named Player of the Match and also clinched the Player of the Series award.
There was a big chance to score 200. I think I still have more matches ahead, so I'm not too worried about it. I believe in myself. That's the most important thing. Honestly, I have a strong desire to top all 3 formats someday. I'm going to keep trying, and I believe one day I'll be able to achieve that. I work really hard for it. I follow Virat Kohli a lot. I love the way he bats. When I'm out in the middle, I try to give my best. I try to do that every single time.
Speaking at the media briefing, Najmul Hossain Shanto announced that he is stepping down from the Bangladesh Test captaincy.
আমার একটা অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট ছিল আমি বাংলাদেশ দলের অ্যাজ এ টেস্ট ক্যাপ্টেন হিসেবে স্টেপ ডাউন করছি
St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia succeeded in maintaining its unbeaten record in the 2025 Inter-School League Rugby Tournament. They won their match against Dharmaja College Kandy in the 4th week of the tournament.
The match took place at Nithawela, where St. Thomas's College delivered a dominant performance against host Dharmaja College. St. Thomas's set the tone early, racking up 34 points in the first half while keeping Dharmaja scoreless. In the second half, they added another 14 points while Dharmaja managed to score just 5. The game concluded with a commanding 48-5 victory for St. Thomas's College, who crossed the line for 8 tries and successfully converted 4 of them. Dharmaja's only points came from a single unconverted try.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Take care. Good night.